All right, good morning. Okay, so welcome to My Environment, My Wealth on 99.1. Due to some technical issues, I have to do this live because I need to celebrate teachers today, and the topic is very important. So yes, we'll be doing this right here, and you can also call me. Yeah. So it's World Teachers Day today, and I think we should celebrate teachers. What do you think? So I'm going to start the program officially right now. So good morning this morning. It's the finest morning. There's no other morning like this morning. If tomorrow's morning is the finest morning, then there's no other morning like this morning. Good morning to you and welcome to this edition on the program, My Environment, My Wealth. My name is Wane Afronelli. It feels very interesting. You can still have the same feel and you can still call me. So yeah, technical difficulties here and there. We hope that the session comes online pretty soon. Okay, so today is World Teachers Day, and apparently yesterday was the World Animal Day. And you know how we all know that animals don't talk, but there are days set aside to respect. I always talk about people being ecocentric in nature rather than being anthropocentric. Yeah, so talking about teachers, we'll start with environmental education, and then we'll look at a lot of you would mistake environmental education with environmental information. Now, the latter doesn't necessarily teach about conservation, preservation, and protection of the environment. Rather, it could have pre-informed opinion. But environmental education teaches protection, preservation, and conservation of the environment. It is not opinionated. It is all-encompassing. It allows everyone to participate in decision-making within the environment, and it, improves your knowledge base. It increases your enthusiasm. It enhances learning skills. So you see that environmental education is very important, and not just environmental information. And environmental education, otherwise known as EE, can be incorporated in the curriculum of any institution, be it primary, tertiary, secondary, and monotechnics, whatever categories they are, even pre-nursery and nursery. Yeah, so let's look at the topic for today, which is World Teachers Day, and the theme is young teachers in the profession. We'll be looking at it from the angle of the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which talks about quality education. You know how that the Millennium Development Goals metamorphose from the 8 MDGs to the Sustainable Development Goals. And number 4 talks specifically about quality education, not just education for all, but quality education. And it's very important because you could have education, but it's not of good quality. And that's why we find people, even professors and PhD holders, fond of littering. They're in their vehicle and they just slip a pet bottle out their moving vehicle, because I could say that the quality of education they acquire is pretty poor. Otherwise, you don't need to leave abroad to know that littering is anthropocentric in nature and harms the environment. Yeah, so there are 10 targets of SDG number 4, the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, that talks about quality education. There are actually 10 targets. 7 are the outcomes of these targets, and 3 are the methods that should be explored to ensure that the targets of the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 is achieved. So let's start with the 7 targets, which are the 7 outcomes, which could also be seen as targets of the Sustainable Development Goal number 4. The first one talks about free, equitable, and universal primary and secondary education. So it doesn't just come free, but it's equitable and it's universal. It is not discriminatory. in nature. It is for everyone at primary and secondary level. That is one target of the Sustainable Development Goal number 4. And number 2 targets is on access to quality early childhood. Access to quality early childhood development, pre-primary education for all boys and girls. So this is also universal across gender. You don't prioritize boys' education over girls' education. You have to prioritize both. So yes, access to quality early childhood development. So those that do pre-nursery are actually in order, because I was homeschooled for how many years? 5 years, thanks to my parents. So I could say I had a firm foundation. My dad would always set up a panel before you get to. We all went through the University of Port Harcourt Demonstration Primary School, and you had to do 1 year in nursery before you move on to primary, because my dad bought into the 6334 educational system, and he didn't want us skipping classes. So he and my mom homeschooled us from the house. I would face this panel, and then you go to UDPS for an interactive session. In fact, I think that's where I developed my confidence, because as early as 3-4 years, I could face a panel and answer questions and define myself. So yes, the family has a major role to play here in achieving the second target, which is access to quality early childhood. Do not put all the responsibilities on the schools today, because these teachers are overburdened. Yeah, we're celebrating teachers, but we overburden them with the responsibilities of parents. You neglect your responsibilities and you wait for teachers to do all the magic. No, it doesn't work that way. All right, so as much as access to quality early childhood development at the primary level is important, you need to do so much from the home front. Yeah, so the third target here is equal access for all women and men to technical and vocational education, which is higher education. So yes, men and women, whatever level you are, there's something called adult education. You should explore that. And environmental education is no respecter of age. You can acquire environmental education from whatever level you are. You could have missed primary, secondary, tertiary, but you are 40 years today, you can still acquire environmental education, because we all need any form of education at all. Basic education is paramount to ensure that we have a sane society. Yeah, so I'm going to take the next target: substantial increase in the number of youths and adults with relevant skills for decent work. Now, you don't just have graduates, for the larger society. So we just do what I would call la crème, la pour, la passe, la forget. So students are just reading, they're not studying. And it's up to the institutions to take it as priority to equip these students with skills beyond their area of profession. Environmental education is key. If we would inculcate environmental education in every curriculum across every educational structure. Alright, we're right back. Sorry about the network. It seems technicalities are here and there obstructing the views. Okay, so let's continue. We stopped at substantial increase in number of youths and adults with relevant skills for decent work. So let's continue. The next target is equal access to education and vocational training for the vulnerable. This number 5 target is one that interests me a lot. There are several. Okay, so I'm hoping this stays for a longer time. Alright, so we are at target number 5, equal access to education and vocational training for the vulnerable. I have been in partnership with the OVC Center in Element, the Luther Welfare for Children at Risk Development Center. A lot of kids do not have the opportunities that I had, or that I still have, and a lot of us are very privileged. Some of you are overprivileged. Overprivileged is one. Okay, so we have really those who are less privileged and been displaced because of environmental hazards. And so I took it upon myself I fell in love with their method of catering for displaced children, orphans and vulnerable children overseas. And we want to set up a library and relaxation spot for these kids right there at the new site in LMA. And yeah, that's one of my birthday projects. So yes, if you haven't contributed to that project, then you really don't appreciate what I do, because it's as simple as making a transfer of 1,000 naira. If you're abroad, you can do 3 USD, and you're contributing to that. The cost for setting up that platform for the overseas at the Luther Welfare Center is roughly 1,200 US dollars, and if you convert that to naira, we're looking at 400,000 thereabouts. 400,000. And of course, we have to complete the one at Rumokoro, the snack bar for the children, and they're very enthusiastic about utilizing the structure, how that a shelter could be made from discarded plastic bottles. Yeah, so equal access to education and vocational training for the vulnerable is key and priority to me. So I would say I'm working on SDG 4.5. Yes, and you can join me to make that a reality. And then we have universal youth literacy and numeracy. Universal youth empowerment should be the same all around the world. So literacy has nothing to do with continents. It has nothing to do with states. Wherever you are, it's a universal youth literacy and numeracy. Every government should take that as priority. Education for sustainable development and global citizenship. Education for sustainable development and global citizenship, that's target number 7. Now, what are the methods? The remaining targets would explain the 3 methods that could be explored to ensure that all of these outcomes and targets of the sustainable development goal number 4 can be achieved. We need to create effective learning environments. Effective learning environments. You don't just build a school. You don't just wake up one morning and convert your home to a school. No, it's inappropriate. You need to ensure that certain facilities are in place. I mean, I don't know what school owners these days. Everybody wants to be a proprietor, a proprietress. It's beyond that. Do you have the facilities really to equip the students? If you don't, then you key into, you can run a partnership, collaborate with someone who is already doing something and add to what the person is doing. We do not all have to be proprietors and proprietresses. No, you don't have to own a school to make impact, to ensure quality education. So yes, effective learning environments, very important. If you don't have that, then don't even delve into owning a school. It's not all about owning schools, but the quality of education that students could acquire from that particular institution. Yeah, we need to expand the number of scholarships awarded to students worldwide. So yeah, scholarships work. The River State Sustainable Development Agency at RSSDA had a plan to ensure that students go acquire knowledge beyond the shores of Nigeria, and we hope that the present government puts that into consideration as well and makes it effective. The interesting thing about RSSDA is the fact that even before the 2015 global goals were rolled out, the 17 SDGs were rolled out in 2015, which is a 15-year plan to run until 2030. RSSDA was initiated by the past governor, Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, and that was a brilliant one, because even as a 2017, a lot of people did not even know what sustainable development goals meant. But here we are, we already had a River State Sustainable Development Agency, and that to me is very important. It puts River State at the forefront. And don't forget that in 2014, Port Harcourt was the World Book Capital, the first African city to be named the World Book Capital. And these points that I would give to the past administration. Yes, we need to do more. Increase the number of qualified teachers. Here we go. Teachers are very important. They are the bedrock of society. And in the words of UNESCO, there is no stronger foundation for lasting peace and sustainable development than a quality education provided by well-trained, valued, supported, and motivated teachers. So qualified teachers are a priority to ensure that sustainable goal number 4 is achieved, all of its targets and methods. I don't know why this phone line is buzzing. Do you want to call me? Okay, yeah, I can take phone calls. Really, 0813-604-6040. 0813-604-6040. That's the number to call, and you can share your thoughts. Are you a teacher out there? Who is your hero? Who is your teacher hero? Yeah, tell me. I have a couple of them from my primary school. I had a firm foundation. Trust me. If you're in Port Harcourt, you want to give your child a strong, firm foundation, the best bet is the University of Port Harcourt Demonstration Primary School. The quality hasn't dropped. And if I'm in Port Harcourt, if I have my kids, I probably consider that too. Yeah, so you can actually call me 0813-604-6040. Let me know your teacher hero for today. But in the meantime, I'm going to play you a song, No Liters, by the Verdant Circles, Sia Flow, Scusi Brown, F-Series, and yours truly, 1A Afro-Daddy. Let's listen to that song. Don't go anywhere, I'm still on live. Hi.
Specific commander. Welcome to the garden, sweet toes. Say the people say I'm watching. Use I got the rain on rockets. Right hands, let me just last on my wishes. Drive on, no pizza. I said no pizza. I'm frozen. Don't do that, I say don't do that. Mind up in London, it's my bread and butter. And mind up in New York, but I love you like no other. One time for my city, so clean. Two times for my drinking, so clean. Three times for the city, so clean. Get drop, get drop, get drop, get drop, get drop, get drop. Afro-Daddy in my city, in my state. Don't you tell me that your house is your estate. Say even in the marketplace. If you wanna be the state, you know we green up. Make that trash. Make that trash. You wanna do your good. Make that trash. Make that trash. Make that trash when you leave your room. Ain't nothing that told me nothing but I see hustle for your daily food. Clean the gutters as you clean your waters. Don't be lazy because the environment matters. We don't want no leader. We just need sincere. Share you need the rivers. Make the joints together. We don't want no leader. We just need sincere. Share you need the rivers. Make the joints together. Yeah. It's the basket. Health is wealth, that's what it is. Stop the treatment before you see it. Health is wealth, that's what it is. Stop the treatment before you see it. Try to think let's keep it because some of that is great. Standing just out of the let's make our environment. Because some of that is great. Maybe it's better because some of that is great. We don't want no liquor. We just need sincere. Say you need me, baby. Make you join us together. We don't want no liquor. We just need sincere. Say you need me, baby. Make you join us together. Yeah. With the basket. Wait here. Commander. 99.1 FM, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Your blessed my people. This is the voice of the man called J. Papa. Right about now, you're listening to my environment, my world. What a pretty impressed one called Afro Melly on 99.1 FM Radio Rivers. Right here in the city of Port Harcourt. sources it leaks. When you wake up,
the condition of the environment is a very important determinant of the state of health and economy of a populace. Tuning in every Saturday at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Radio Rivers 99.1 FM on the program My Environment, My Wealth. Learn how to control and manage your environment, how the environment controls you, and how to create wealth with a clean environment. Remember, cleanliness is next to godliness. Oxygen must be clean, and green. So give up what's don't put it. You can't go green if you don't live green. My Environment, My Wealth, the mobile program on environment and wealth creation.
Alright, so we'll be talking teachers. It's World Teachers Day today and we have to celebrate them. I'm going to be celebrating some of my teachers from primary school, Mr. Ledago, Mr. J.W. Amadi, Mrs. Irulo, Mrs. Wachuku, Mrs. Umego, then my headmistress. I had two Mrs. Wachukus. Mrs. Ezakile, Mrs. Wanekeze, who else? Okay, yeah, these teachers were very good in my formative years. They gave me the foundation that I have today. And moving on to secondary school, I can't but mention Mr. Joel Humphrey. He was my chemistry teacher. And of course, the couple who served when I was in senior secondary 2 and 3. Ebenezer Adeoshun. Yeah, he later became my special advisor because I was the president of the media, the Rivers State Secondary Schools Media Club, affiliated to Nigeria Union of Journalists. So I didn't start my media stuff today. I moved from being a cartoonist to being the interim president, and then I was elected president of the 15th administration. In my tenure as president of Omatech Media, by the way, it was known as Okuta Media. I had to give it a SAS name. So yeah, I did go to Government Girls Secondary School from Okuta, asked of the press club, and I'm sure they're still using that press board. I had to bring out the press board from Dungeon. Thanks to Ebenezer, he was really helpful in guiding me and my team, and we went for the statewide competition. Then we came second overall. We should have come first, but we were not the whole school, and the state president wasn't from my school, from Selamaris. And the likes of STO Afolabi, Filak Media. I mean, I can't remember all of you, but STO Afolabi stock, because I guess we're still on Facebook as friends. Yeah, so I learned a lot from Government Girls Secondary School Rumokota. I also served as the PRO of the Junior Engineer Technicians and Scientists Club, JETS Club, and I was the representative for the English Book Club, British Council, from my school. In fact, it was one student per school, but I wasn't a scientist, and a student was picked from the arts class. Actually, the senior prefect 1, I was senior prefect 2. And my English teacher in the science said no, Afro Nelly would go. The other teachers actually fought against it. They said, oh, art students are more inclined to speak in English and all that, so an art student should be, moreover she was the SP1 Victoria Amadi. And my teacher said no, Afro Nelly is best fit, and they had to take 2 of us. So you see, I've had good teachers from primary to secondary. My economics teacher then, oh my goodness, what's her name again? She was really good at her course, Mr. Ziane. He taught me accounting, and it was my form teacher. He already mentioned Mr. Joel and Ebenezer Adeoshun, who was a serving corps member at the time. And then health science teacher. Most importantly, a teacher who taught me how to convert my sexual drive to creativity. And a lot of people have asked me if I have my hormones secretly completely secreted. I'm a very normal being. I love and I love well. I love hard. I'm a very romantic person. But hey, priorities come first. So I learned in my junior secondary too how to convert my sexual drives to creativity. And so, okay, yeah, so basically I want to say thank you to all of the teachers that have been impactful to me. Of course, my university days, it came tough and rough. In fact, it got to a point that I lost a year in school, but hey, I'm better off for it, and I give God thanks. So thank you to all the teachers and professors, Dr. Olaifa Flora, Dr. Akinwale, Professor Ajani, Professor Mitoi from the University of Ibadan. Either ways, I learned so much and I'm better for it. And of course, my personal teachers, my mentors, my special friend.